Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Look around you for just a second. What if I told you that your current reality, your everyday struggles, your biggest successes, even your very identity is not some cage you're just trapped in, but a world you are actively generating? And I definitely don't mean that metaphorically or just in a spiritual sense. I mean it neurologically, psychologically, and physically. Right now, in this exact second, your brain is actively filtering the world around you. Your beliefs are shaping your perception, and your attention is literally deciding what becomes real for you. So, let me ask you a really serious question. Do you ever feel kind of stuck? Like you're just living on autopilot, endlessly repeating the exact same routines day in and day out? The truth is, most people spend their entire lives simply reacting to reality. They never realize that they're actually participating in creating it. It's like they're trapped in a loop they never consciously designed. Okay, let's dive into this. Because, look, this explainer is not about just pumping you up with empty motivation. This is about deep, fundamental understanding. Because the moment you truly grasp the hidden mechanisms of how your reality is created, you can stop hopelessly chasing life and start actively designing it. Chapter 1: The Prison. Living on Autopilot. To really understand this prison of repeating routines, we have to look at a fundamental, honestly slightly uncomfortable truth. Your brain receives millions of bits of information every single second, but only a tiny, tiny fraction of that data ever enters your conscious awareness. Why? Well, because your brain isn't a video recorder, it's a prediction machine. It's constantly asking, okay, what do I expect to see? And then it heavily filters the outside world to show you exactly that. Chapter 2: The Discovery: How the Brain Filters Reality. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it explains the biological hardware behind all this. It's called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's ultimate VIP bouncer. It decides what information gets in and what gets totally blocked out. If you deeply believe that life is hard and unfair, your RAS will literally highlight struggle everywhere you look. But if you flip that and believe opportunities are everywhere, your brain's filtering system shifts. Suddenly you start noticing pathways and possibilities that were physically sitting there the whole time. Look at the stark contrast between these two paths. Two people can live in the exact same world, walk down the exact same street, and experience completely different realities. The person on the left is continually having their belief in failure confirmed by their own brain, while the person on the right is continuously having their belief in success confirmed. Reality doesn't change first. Your perception does. Perception is the absolute gateway to reality. And, long before neuroscience was mapping out neural networks, ancient traditions understood this beautifully. In Eastern philosophy, they saw the mind as the projector of illusion. In Hermetic teachings, they had a famous saying, as within, so without. Your inner world, your dominant thoughts, your emotional baseline, your core identity, that is what consistently determines what you perceive, what you attract, and ultimately what you sustain in the outer world. Chapter 3: The Psychology of Identity, the Internal Script. So here is where most people completely fail. When they try to change things up, they try to change their external life without changing who they actually believe they are internally. Your identity is your internal script. It's the silent, honest answer to these three questions. If your internal script secretly says, I'm always unlucky, or I'm just not capable, you literally cannot create a new reality. Why? because your brain will actively avoid the effort required just to confirm your belief that you aren't capable. You simply cannot build a new life while remaining the exact same person internally. And this brilliantly illustrates the loop that either traps us or totally frees us. Look at how it flows here. Your identity generates your thoughts, which in turn create your emotions, which then drive your actions, which finally produce your results. And then, boom, those results bounce right back to reinforce your identity. You do not change your life by forcing outcomes at step 5. Actually, scratch that. You change your life by shifting step 1. You absolutely must become the person for whom those desired outcomes are completely natural. Chapter 4: Energy and Emotion, the Forces of Creation. Okay, so identity and thought are the blueprint, but blueprints need fuel, right? Notice the massive internal conflict happening here. So many of us think to ourselves, I really want success, but underneath that, our nervous system is just vibrating with fear, doubt, and lack. Here's the kicker. Your nervous system does not respond to the positive words you occasionally say. It responds to what you consistently feel. If your body is operating from a baseline of scarcity, your actions are inevitably going to reflect that scarcity. And this isn't just some abstract theory, it is pure hard biology. The emotional state you live in directly dictates the hormones flooding your body, how you make split-second decisions, your willingness to take risks, and your day-to-day focus. Because emotion shapes behavior, and behavior shapes reality, your body literally has to stop rehearsing the feelings of the past if you ever want to create a new future. Chapter 5: Physical Laws and Alignment, Grounding the Mechanism. We have to transition from the inner world to the outer world now, because let's be real, this isn't magic. It is pure, unbreakable cause and effect. No matter how incredible your mindset is, without these 3 physical laws, absolutely nothing changes. First up, the law of action. Reality responds to movement. You don't get opportunities just by visualizing them on a couch. You get them by showing up. Second, the law of accumulation. Your life isn't shaped by massive one-off moments. It's shaped by small, seemingly boring actions repeated daily. And third, the law of focus. Whatever you focus on naturally expands in your awareness, because you start noticing it and acting on it more often. So the crucial point is this whole concept of alignment. When your mind, your emotions, and your daily actions all finally point in the exact same direction, resistance drops. Most people out there are not actually blocked by the outside world. They are divided within themselves. One part desperately wants growth, while another part is terrified of it. True alignment dissolves that internal conflict entirely. Chapter 6: Transformation, Creating Your Desired Reality. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable step-by-step sequence. How do we actually walk out of the autopilot prison? First, define your reality with absolute precision. Second, rebuild your identity. Start asking, who must I become to actually live this? Third, train your focus by brutally cutting out the noise. Fourth, regulate your emotional state so you aren't just a victim of your daily stress. Fifth, take consistent action even on the days you really don't feel like it. And sixth, reinforce it all through repetition. Remember, your brain doesn't rewire through sudden, fleeting bursts of inspiration. It changes through daily discipline and relentless repetition. This entire process, it brings us to one profound, absolutely undeniable truth. You are not waiting for your life to change. Life is waiting for you to become someone different. The very moment you change what you deeply believe, what you intensely focus on, and how you act, your reality fundamentally has no choice but to follow suit. Now, this isn't an overnight process, but it is a highly certain one. Once you grasp this, you finally stop asking, why is this happening to me? Because you realize you are always creating something. So the only question I want to leave you with today is, are you doing it consciously? Thank you so much for exploring this with me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.